What is up, guys? Rick Cactus here, and today we are going to be showcasing a complete recap of all of the information of the second Bungie livestream entitled New Ways to Play for the upcoming Curse of Osiris expansion. Now, if I sound a little bit different, it is because I'm using my mobile setup. I'm on vacation in Hawaii, but I decided to drag myself away from the fresh pineapple and chocolate-covered macadamia nuts long enough so I could make this video and watch the stream. So let's get started with the information. Now, the first thing Bungie did within this live stream is to engage in the new public event for Mercury. There's actually a special custom public event purpose-built for Mercury, and it's the largest public event Bungie has ever done. And it was pretty extensive. There's quite a lot of steps to it, and that's just the normal public event. Like, you had to go kill gatekeepers and then grab these orbs and go slam these orbs to unlock new gates and to eventually destroy the portal that the Vex are coming through. And again, that's just the normal version. You could also activate a heroic mode on top of that. So it did seem pretty extensive. It seemed pretty darn cool, to be perfectly honest. And also, they did reveal that the heroic version, if you do activate it, of this public event will award you with a second chest and therefore a second token to allow you to unlock your Osiris gear, because Brother Vance, of course, is going to be essentially the Devrim K of Mercury, and he's going to be awarding you with that fresh loot. So if you do activate heroic, it's a little bit more rewarding than right now, which it just awards extra XP. Now, of course, that information brings up a big issue. You do this big heroic public event, you open the heroic chest, and you get a token. It's a little depressing, to be perfectly honest, and that's because I think most people would agree that the token system within Destiny 2 has inherent flaws and does need to be fixed and addressed moving forward. However, for this video, I'm just basically going to try to restrain myself from going into detail about what I believe and all of my opinions, and just kind of focus on the information to keep you guys informed about all of the stuff that happened in the stream, rather than actually assess what I believe the pros and cons are. I'll save that for another video. So moving on with the information, Bungie then went into the lighthouse and showed off how the endgame reward system, or at least one of the endgame reward systems, would work within Curse of Osiris. Firstly, talking to Brother Vance, he actually offered several different prophecies. So this is the key to unlocking the weapons that we saw on the wheel that was in the previous livestream. Essentially, there's this big Vex wheel, it's called the Forge, and each of the different nodes along this circle indicates a weapon, a Vexified weapon that you can unlock. We keep seeing these Vexified weapons absolutely everywhere. And again, each circle, all 11 of them, indicates one particular weapon. So you go to Brother Vance and you pick a certain prophecy that you want to unlock. Then you do that prophecy and you complete the prophecy by getting the different materials required to fulfill it. So they showed off some of the materials. I took some screenshots, and you can see here, for getting this particular, Radiolarian or whatever the actual material is, you do several different activities, whether it be a strike or a crucible, a game, or what have you. Now, there's a bunch of different materials. We don't know all of the requirements for those, but that is one example. Once you have all the materials and fulfill the prophecy, you then go and forge your weapon. In this case, they forged a brand new energy hand cannon. Now, I know I just said I would refrain from personal opinions, but I think that this is a great step forward. It gives the player the choice to select where they want to go and which guns they want to actually acquire. If you're missing the hand cannon, you can purposely select the hand cannon prophecy when it's available, rather than purely relying on RNG. So I think this is a step forward away from the token system. And 11 weapons is actually a pretty sizable chunk. Hopefully this will give players quite a lot of playtime to invest in. Now, aside from that, I do want to say that some of the weapons that we were spotting in trailers, some of the weapons that a lot of people, including myself, thought may have been exotic, turned out to potentially not be. Especially this pulse rifle here that almost exactly matches the exotic No Time to Explain from Destiny 1. If you actually look at the proper gameplay that they showed off for the first time with it, the symbol that it represents, the pulse rifle symbol, is a normal default pulse rifle symbol. Now, exotics will actually have custom built symbols, and that's one of the great ways to tell if a weapon is exotic. Maybe Bungie actually realized that everyone was telling which weapons were exotic by these symbols and put it on the default symbol for now, but I think that's less likely. So it does turn out that and a really interesting looking shotgun, this one here, are apparently just legendary weapons. So that shotgun also doesn't really look vexified. That's one of the most interesting things about it, and we finally got some first-person gameplay with it. So I don't know where the heck this shotgun is from. Potentially it's a more interesting activity, or even a new raid shotgun, because again, this looks definitely out of place when compared to the vexified weapons that we keep seeing within gameplay. In any event, moving on from there, one of the new things that was revealed when Bungie did talk to Brother Vance, and the very next thing they did within stream, is the fact that adventures are getting a pretty big overhaul. There's now going to be heroic adventures. That is a fantastic idea, and frankly, that should have been in the game since launch. Adventures are actually substantial pieces of content. Some of the adventures within the game right now feel like actual storyline quests. They take quite a while even to complete, and they have a ton of lore and information within them. But if there's no substantial rewards, there's no reason to do them. Hopefully these heroic Mercury adventures is going to be a step forward, and hopefully they can be retroactively even added with the other adventures within vanilla Destiny 2. Because the heroic adventures, it was revealed within Mercury, will not only just be harder pieces of content, more powerful enemies and so on, but they will have heroic modifiers. Modifiers a la Destiny 1 basically have different benefits or downsides. For example, a modifier in Destiny 1, Juggler, made it so that if you're using your, well, at that time it was your primary weapon constantly, you wouldn't get ammo with it. You would only get ammo for the other two weapons you have. That seems to kind of automatically be in the game in Destiny 2, but I digress. Other modifiers made it so that, melee damage did way more than usual. There was burns, like arc burn made it so that arc weapons did substantially more damage, both your arc weapons and enemy arc weapons as well. So it was you were more powerful, but you died a lot quicker. So there's a bunch of very interesting modifiers that could be coming to Destiny 2. So that is exciting. Also, it was revealed last stream that heroic strikes are also coming. Bungie didn't comment on modifiers whatsoever, but if modifiers are making a return via adventures, heroic adventures, then they may also be in the heroic strike playlist. Modifiers are one of the craziest, most fun things in Destiny, and it was kind of the reason to hop on and grind strikes. When it was arc burn, you had fantastic arc weapons. For example, the Wardcliff Coil would be an absolute beast with arc burn. In any event, keeping on the theme of Mercury itself, the heroic adventures will again have random modifiers. So if you do the same, potentially if you do the same heroic adventure from week to week, it's actually going to be substantially different. Having arc burn, for example, and then the next week having brawler, so you do more melee damage, is going to be vastly different in your playstyle within it. And that is a great way to spice up replayability. Now, I say that's on theme with Mercury because, and Bungie kind of explored this when they went into the Infinite Forest and showed off this heroic adventure, Mercury itself is almost randomized. And that's because every time you go into the Infinite Forest, there's going to be, firstly, different set pieces. This was shown off in yesterday's teaser trailer, where it showed 3 different sections, like the same exact area of the map had 3 completely different pathways going through it, depending on just when you actually went through it, because there's essentially different puzzle pieces that will, not quite randomly, but coincidentally, you could say, spawn in relation to one another. So every time you go through the Infinite Forest, which remember is a Vex simulation, it will be a little bit different. And today it was revealed that all enemy factions will be randomly, well, again, kind of randomly, semi-randomly spawning within the Infinite Forest. So sometimes you go through the Infinite Forest and do an adventure, and you're fighting the Cabal. Another time you're fighting the Hive, another time you're fighting the Fallen, another time you're fighting the Vex, and you're fighting different combinations of those enemies mixed and matched. So again, that's fantastic for replayability. It's going to make something like grinding, which is such a main part in Destiny 2, grinding these heroic adventures, right? you are going to have a much better time doing that than grinding the same exact strikes, for example, that hardly ever change. Being able to grind these adventures and fighting completely different enemies in completely different environments even, that's going to be absolutely fantastic, and I think that's going to help the game last a little bit longer than it otherwise would. And so guys, that's all that was revealed in today's stream. Now Bungie did mention that next week's stream is going to be pretty substantial. They're showing off a bunch of new weapons and also a bunch of new armor, including, they said, armor from a bunch of different activities like new faction armor. They even teased new raid armor. I couldn't tell if they were joking. I think they might be joking, but they did say that they're showing off some exotic armor, and that is really cool. We're going to get some first looks at brand new exotics next stream, so I'm very excited for that. Stay tuned. I'm going to be back in my normal setup next week, so we're going to have much more detail there. But in any event, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, found it informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. But if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.